Hey everyone, Lone Wolf Jet here, and well, let's find out what happens on this so-called maiden voyage. Like I said, I have a very bad feeling about this. So I'm trying to fix got my ID badge hooked around my headset again. By the way, I had to get myself a new ID badge at work because the old one decided to stop working. Okay, so here we go. My journey is drawing to an end. It won't be long now before I arrive at my destination in southern Nevada. Okay, this is not our thing here. Not that it'll change anything once I get there. I certainly won't be getting a reward for my trouble. Nor do I have a home to return to, or enough fuel to get there even if I did. The only point this journey ever had was to get where I was going. Well, no, that may be technically that may be technically accurate, but it's still not quite right. Let me be clear, so I don't invite any misunderstandings. When I say I don't have a home to return to, I don't mean that in the heartless, cold-blooded bastard sense. My home may be gone now, but I still remember it clearly. And as long as I have those memories, I'll never feel the pain of its loss. See, since I was born, I've had the ability, for better or worse, to recall anything I've ever seen in perfect detail. It's called hypothymesia, though it's more commonly known as superior autobiographical memory. My friends consider it a disability and sympathize with the drawbacks, but scientists considered it a gift. It drove me insane when I was a kid. At some points, it caused me to hate cities and people in general. When I grew up, I left the city behind and started living a much quieter life out in a village near the mountains. As a result, I've only spent about a third of my life in busy urban areas, so I'm not really overburdened with memories of those places. Still, my memories are just as clear now as they ever were. I can see the friends I used to hang out with, smiling and laughing as if they were right here with me. Of course, that includes the beautiful scenery and the stars that used to twinkle bright all across the nighttime sky. Maybe that's why I couldn't shake my doubts about why this happened the way it did. Something seemed off. I don't mean the Earth's surface being bleached white. I mean, it feels like something even bigger has changed. But in a way I can't put my finger on it. Whatever it is, I've noticed it at different points during this journey. There was something different about the skies above. Russia, Scandinavia, China, India. Whatever it was, they weren't the same skies I'd seen before. There must be some other change occurring in places I'm not privy to. Or maybe some other humans besides me are struggling to fight back. Maybe they're doing their best to retake this world, this planet, this universe for humanity, even as I speak. Unfortunately, as intriguing as that possibility is, those places are much too far away for me to make a detour, and I have precious little time left as it is. I ran out of food yesterday. My bike's not going to last much longer either. Again, once I reach my destination, my journey is over. It would be nice if whoever's causing these changes taking place around the world were stopped by the states. But I doubt anyone who's lost heart as me and the rest of humanity have anything close to that kind of good luck left. It's a little weird. What a strange feeling. Even if this is the end for me in multiple senses, it still feels good to achieve the goal I set for myself. This reminds me of the recent summer event. Why did humanity die out? Why did these alien invaders show up? Why the conquerors by bleaching the earth white? My heart is racing at the prospect of possibility of uncovering the answers to these and all the other mysteries. I've arrived at the U.S. Air Force Base known as the Area 51. It's the one place, the only part of the texture of the entire planet that managed to evade the bleaching. The sheer security surrounding this place led up to all sorts of rumors about high-tech experiments and training being conducted here. But you never know that looking at it now. Not only are there no survivors here, there's not so much as a single piece of cutting-edge equipment. Any seaplanes and armored tanks that may have been here before are long gone. And since there's no power, I doubt I'll be able to stock up on food or water either. On the plus side, the buildings are mostly untouched, so at least I shouldn't have to go sifting through rubble. I can't believe it. Rain clouds cropped up here out of nowhere. I guess that means it still rains in the last area on Earth that hasn't been bleached away. I pushed my excitement down to keep it from getting the better of me, and began carefully making my way to the base. The rain clouds that cropped up in the skies overhead stuck around the whole time I was there. Now, there were several things from my expedition to the inside of the base, the part completely cut off from the outside world. I wish I could offer my own personal insights on what I found, but since I'm running low on both time and energy, I'll have to stick to just the facts. This base did in fact contain an alien life form. 2018 Subject E relocation. 2018 initiate Subject E examination. According to the documents I found, this subject had flown to New Mexico in the year 2018. The craft it had been piloting either burned up when it entered Earth's atmosphere, or was probably destroyed by the subject itself, according to a handwritten note, leaving the subject completely exposed upon its discovery. The injuries sustained during its emergency landing had left it critically wounded and near death. But by flash freezing it, the Air Force managed to preserve its life functions. They then brought it to this base. All the other records pertaining to the subject can be summed up in a single word: gruesome. The scientists performed all kinds of tests, experiments, and surgeries in order to keep this alien visitor alive. They conducted clinical trials with different kinds of medicine. They tested every known substance on Earth to see how it would react. They observed reactions that corresponded to pain. They observed reactions that corresponded to joy. To measure its endurance, they stopped supplying it with nutrients. Then they tried burning it, freezing it, melting it, attaching things to it. They stirred its intestines around, cut off parts of its body, measured signals from the organ they thought was its brain. They performed all of this research, what could also be called the way crystallization of human history, which is called the very crystallization of human history, on the subject while it was still living. It didn't take long for the surgical procedures meant to resuscitate the subject to morph into brutally exploitive experiments. And since the cells taken from the subject's samples were made up of elements that didn't exist anywhere on the planet, it wasn't hard to imagine that further research could eventually lead to military and civilian applications. Truth be told, that was where the top brass's true interest lied. After all, ever since the turn of the 12th century, the energy race between nations had only continued to pick up speed. And there was now an insurmountable gap between industrialized nations and developing ones. I could tell from poring over the documents that they began with a test of the best of intentions. They wanted their research to result in a better life for every person on Earth, to help humanity move past its endless squabbling for wealth and forge ahead with new, loftier goals. However, Area 51's researchers didn't see things that same way. With every experiment they ran, they became more and more certain that the subject was emitting a constant, unknown signal. It was calling for help. So they thought if they kept running experiments on it, if they kept inflicting greater levels of pain on it, even more potential test subjects were bound to show up. That's why this all happened. This wasn't a natural disaster. it was a man-made one. But is that truly the reason? I finally know why those trees came here. Now, I just have to confirm one last thing. Was it the true cause? Was it really a subject E here? At this base? I have to see it for myself. And I have to do it before I die of malnutrition. It took me several days to discover the door. E reference room. A secret area that had been built even further underneath the base's underground structure. I managed to open the door and make my way inside the sealed-off passageway. I can already tell there's something here. This is it. This is where I'll find the answers I've been seeking. There's just something different about the air in this passageway that makes that all too clear. My instruments aren't picking up anything unusual. Even though the passageway itself is like something from another world, entirely removed from what we think of as reality. I know this passageway was made out of iron and steel, but it feels like I'm walking on pulsating jelly. I make my way across the simultaneously hard, soft, warm, cold floor, one careful step at a time. My body temperature is dropping like a stone. I can barely breathe. My conscience is hanging by a thread. I can't remember how many days it's been since I last had something to eat or drink. Soon I won't even have enough energy left to talk to this recorder. But I can't stop now. I have to find the answers before I die. Answers I'm sure lie just beyond this passage. The only sound that escaped my lips was a quiet gasp of shock. It was the most wretched room I could have imagined. If I had known better, I would have never thought it was looking in the middle of one of the most high-tech bases on Earth. And yet, there it was atop the exam table. It was our thing that resembled nothing so much as a dead tree. Hey there. It's about time you showed up, Blue Book. Okay, that was a little weird. Yeah, so okay. That's me all for this video. Till next time, this is Love Jen saying thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves.